Sunshines. This is Shauna, Creative Stitching Diva, Graphghan Queen, and I'm here to give you 10 tips on how to make the perfect Graphghan. Everyone struggles just a little bit with Graphghan. Sometimes you are frustrated with the color change. Sometimes you're frustrated with the colors, the yarn, your stitching is not looking great. Like, there's so many different things that we don't even think about that can create the good, perfect Graphghan. So throughout the years, I've done some trial and error and realized that it's just the basics, it's preference, and just fun that can create the best Graphghan. So I'm going to give you 10 tips on how to make your Graphghan look superb. Number one, the basic knowledge on how to change colors in your Graphghan. How you change colors in the middle, how you change colors at the end, how you change colors, period. It's good common knowledge to know how to change your colors. You could change colors with different techniques, and my favorite technique is my pop, lock, and drop. You can look in the description below for a tutorial on how to do that. I also have another scoop de loop, which is something I came up not too long ago, and you could try that out. That's gonna be in the description below, and just try out to see which one is best for you. Try it with single crochet or half double crochet, whichever one is good for you. And work two, the best thing to do to make sure that the image that you are going to crochet is have the best graph. So you could purchase your graph anywhere. You can purchase it on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Etsy. Wherever you purchase your graph, just make sure that it's a good graph. Make sure that the lines are good. Make sure that when you connect the dots, make sure that it looks good. Make sure that you can read it, because looking at the actual picture can be completely different than actually crocheting it. Once you crochet it, then you have actual fiber that's gonna change a little bit of your pattern, a little bit of your graph, a little bit of your image, which makes it not so clear. So if you have the right graph, the right grapher to create your graph, then you should be fine. Things don't look kind of good and it looks like it's skipping lines, like a solid line should be solid and not skipping, then that can cause some problems in your clarity of your graph, and it may look kind of like blurry or off. So the best thing to do is just make sure you get a good graph, and if you have any problems, you can always hit someone up and ask them. So number 3, must have yarn that has the same weight, and you also want to make sure it has the same fiber, because listen, right, we all came across maybe a pattern or a graph that has so many different colors, and you need different colors, and it might not be in that same exact brand. It might be in another brand. It's absolutely fine to get different types of brands in one Graphghan. You could do that. The problem you may have if you do that is make sure that it's the same fiber. For instance, I have this right here is a different type of fiber, but I couldn't find another color. But you know, say if you have this fiber and this fiber is a little thin, but it's also like speckled. So because it's thin and speckled, it's not gonna go well with maybe red heart. They're both different types of fiber. See, and then it's also different size. So this one is light. So this is 3-ply sports weight. That's sports weight. And then this one is worst 4, which is the medium weight. So you do not want to use sports weight, lightweight with regular worst weight. You don't want to do that because then this one is going to overpower this one. So the best thing to do is make sure that the weight and the fiber are the same. I did at one point I used to use Caron Simply Soft because it was a certain type of color that I've always loved, and I wanted to always use that with my regular, I always use Big Twist from Joann's, and there's a video that I had did to show which one is the best yarn for the best yarn to use. But when you put Big Twist up with Simply Soft, the Simply Soft can be a little bit thin and it might overpower a little bit. Even if you put it up with Red Heart, you could put it up with Red Heart, and Red Heart is a little bit thicker than all of them. Red Heart is a little bit thicker. So you have to be careful. Just be a little bit careful with the size, and make sure that it does not overpower one of the other, because then that will cause holes in your work. You don't want that. This has a little bit more holes. It's a little holier than the rest. So that means that this is, so I crochet pretty well, and I kind of know the basics about changing colors and everything. So it doesn't look as bad as it can. So if you're just learning, this might not be a good idea to do. This right here is the Simply Soft, and then this right here is the Skin Tones, and this right here is the Big Twist yarn. Yeah, just be careful. Just make sure that the size is the same and the fiber is the same, and you'll be fine. Always keep in mind that Red Heart is a little bit thicker than most yarn that we want to use. The most classic yarns, it's a little thicker, a little stiff. I don't always use it for my blankets because then it'd be a little stiff. I do use it if I need a certain color, and that's fine to add it in there a little bit at a time. But like I said, Big Twist and I Love This Yarn were basically neck and neck because they're both soft. Even when you wash it, it's still soft. So Big Twist at Joann's is the best to use. I also have used Impeccable. I've used that. And one thing that I need to let you know is sometimes, you know, we want different colors when you're doing your skin tones. When you want different skin tones when you're doing certain types of graphs that might need colors for the skin, right? But the thing is, the best thing that we might want to go to is skin tones, right? And skin tones would be the best thing to use because the colors are perfect, spot on. The thing about it is the consistency of the yarn is almost like Caron Simply Soft. So being that they're both the same consistency, it's not going to go well with Big Twist. Put your yarns together and look at the fiber and see if it mesh well, and then that will help you with picking your yarn. Number 4, the right hook. Choosing the right hook may not be that hard, but I found throughout my crocheting journey that when I first started crocheting, I would use Boy or Susan Bates, and then I realized that Boy and Susan Bates just was not the one for me. They used to be. Susan Bates used to be my go-to. And then I ventured off and got a gift with Furl. So I used Furl, and then Furl was like the go-to for me. Then I got Clover, and then Clover was the go-to for me. And the only thing I could think is the aluminum, like the type of hook that this is, makes a difference when crocheting because it's smooth, it's faster, and changing colors, it's like glides. Whereas when I used this, it kind of skipped a little. So when you change your colors, it's not as smooth looking as you want it to be. So the best thing to do is play around with some different types of hooks. This also too, this is tulip. This is also a pretty good one, I guess, because of the aluminum, this part right here. These are the ones that I've tried. They're a little bit on the expensive side, but you only need one, maybe one or two of your favorite size, and try it and see how they work for you. Number 5 is you must have knowledge on how to read a graph, whether it's written or whether it's the actual graph. Either or, if you have common knowledge on how to read the graph, it will go great. Or if you do not have common knowledge, or if you have a little problems with which way to go, all you have to do is always remember when you're reading the actual graph, you're going to go from the bottom and you're going to start on the right side, and then it's going to be right to left, left to right, and then right to left, left to right. If you wanted to do it from the top, then you'll do it from the top. You start on the right or the left, and whichever way you start, you always just going to go from right to left or left to right. That's it. You're just going to go back and forth. That's common knowledge on the actual graph. I do have more tutorials that you can look at if you want to know more about reading the actual graph. Or if you have a problem reading a graph, then maybe try written instructions, which I do make written instructions. You do have to let me know. If it's not in my shop, then just let me know and I'll see if I have it or can I create it. It is an extra charge, but written instructions is good for some people, but just be careful depending on when you get your written instructions. If there's a mistake, then that's something that you may not find out until later on because you can't see. It's like you're blindly going. So row by row, just make sure you pay attention to the actual image, the picture as you're going each row. If you're going to do written instructions, just so that you know if there's a mistake or something, you are able to fix that early on rather than waiting to the end, looking at your image and seeing, or looking at your project and seeing that there's a mistake. Before I finish, check this out. Hold on, sunshines. You need a logo, website, and business branding ideas? Check out Lightwork Designs, one-stop shop for all your branding needs. Link in the description below. Just say the Diva sent you. Number 6, never carry a yarn more than 4 stitches. Never. So when we begin crocheting, we tend to do something called tapestry. And when you do tapestry, you are literally crocheting your yarn in between. So you're carrying your yarn from side to side, side to side. And when you do that, it causes you can see in between. You can see the yarn in between. I must crochet so well that you can't really see it in between, but you can see the green in between. And that's something that we do not want. We do not want you to do that. So when I crochet, I try to do, I can basically carry my yarn no more than 4 stitches. And I do that because some patterns you do have to carry, or you can carry, and it's not going to be visible. You won't be able to see it. Sometimes you could get away with it. So between 1 and 4 stitches, I will get away with it. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. It depends. But when it comes down to your whole entire project, no, we don't want to do that because you don't want this to happen. You don't want to see the yarn carried in between. I also, yeah, sometimes you have maybe like a little bit of that yarn left, like for instance this part right here, and you want to crochet on top of it because you want to weave it, and then it causes this right here. Yeah, you don't want to do that either. It's the best thing to do is to weave it in. That way you don't have to worry about this right here. Yeah, you have this whole area that looks green, and then you just have that one little, yeah, you don't want that. 7. Which stitch and or craft is best for your project? I've been doing this since 2011, and in the beginning I did single crochet. I then realized that half double crochet is my go-to because I'm quicker, I'm smoother, and it looks good. So let me show you. I wanted to do Tunisian. Tunisian is actually the smallest. It almost looks like knit. Tunisian is also kind of like the lines are straight. So if you ever wanted to try Tunisian crochet, that would be great to do for your projects. I myself do like smaller projects with scarves or bags, tote bags, stuff like that, you know, pillows. I will not do a blanket in Tunisian crochet. Single crochet, and then half double crochet, and then double crochet. And then you also have C2C. You know, there's different types of crafts. C2C is not my go-to. When you are using double crochet, it's longer and narrow. So double crochet is not my go-to, and neither should it be yours when you're doing blankets or certain types of Graphghans. I will not steer you wrong. Try not to use double crochet. Some people say, oh, I use it, it didn't have no problem. Depending on what you're making, it may. It makes your, because double crochet is a longer stitch, so it's going to make the image distorted. So for instance, this right here is double crochet and this one is single crochet. It's definitely going to distort your image, definitely. And if you ever wanted to use half double crochet is just half of this, so this is going to be a little bit larger, but it's better. It's better. That's my go-to. This is a single crochet as well. This is small too, single crochet. And then you have the half double crochet and then double crochet. So whatever you want, whatever you choose, just make sure you know how to use it, do it well, and whatever is comfortable, because it's preference. When all of your yarn should line up to the back. I do have a video down below that you could check out, and it shows you exactly how I line up all my yarn to the back. But lining up your yarn to the back, it creates this. It looks like this. So all of the yarn is facing the back, and then the front will be nice and clear and clean, because the front is where we need to make sure that the image looks good. If you tend to have your yarn facing the front, it's going to distort your image. So just be careful with that and make sure that all of your yarn is facing the back. Number 9. Bobbins, and bobbins. That is your choice, your preference. If you want to use bobbins, you can. If you don't have to. I myself do not use bobbins. It's a task for me. I just want to crochet. I don't want to have to worry about doing this all the time or spending the time to keep going like this, because sometimes people may take the bobbins and prepare them before they even start their project. So if that's what you want to do, fine. By all means, do that. I myself, I don't use any. I just let the string hang, and letting the string hang to me is good for me because my yarn do not like tangle, but even if it did, I have no problem pulling it apart. It's like therapy for me. But turning your project in the same direction will cause your yarn to not really twist. You're like twisting it back. So bobbins that they have and new ways that you could use different objects around your house just so that you do not have tangled yarn all over the place. So check out for that video, which is coming soon. But other than that, bobbins or no bobbins, that is your choice. That is your preference. Purchase the bobbins down below on Amazon. There's a little discount down there if you want to purchase the bobbins from me, as well as your clover hooks and tulip hooks. You could purchase it down there below. Number 10 on how to have a great Graphghan. How can you have a great Graphghan? Have fun. Basically, have fun. The more frustrated you are, the more anxious you are, nervous, that will cause you to not focus on what you're trying to do, the task, the remembering that this is crochet and why we started crocheting, because it's a hobby, it's something that we like to do, something that we love to do, and it's also something that we could possibly make money and make someone happy giving them their project. So relax and just let it flow, and just using the tips that I've given you, your Graphghan is going to turn out sit and make squares. When I first started, I made squares. I made little tiny potholes, or I made like a little granny square blanket, but the granny squares was like little blocks of hearts or something like that, or letters. Something to get in the habit of changing colors, but on a smaller scale, and putting them together, making it a big blanket, and then you could work your way up to maybe like pillow, scarf, whatever. Blend of all your preferences. Your Graphghan is going to be easy. You're going to be addicted, and it's just going to be something that you're always going to want to do. You're always going to have ideas on what you want to make. It's addictive. When you see that you can make anything you want, you're going to be like, ooh, I want to make this, I want to make that one. I know how to create images that no one else can create, and I can create that. I can make it come to life and make it into a pattern so that you could create it. So if you ever need me to hook you up and Photoshop or create or design, graphic design your image, hit me up. Everything is in the description below. Go check out my website. Check out the graphs I already have, and if you wanted to order one, let me know. You could be a part of the Diva Squad. The Diva Squad is the membership under me. You could be. Until next time, sunshines. Bye.